So in this video, I'm going to talk about Fortigate firewalls load balancing configuration, and the setup that I have for that is pretty straightforward. I've got a Fortigate firewall that's also doing load balancing. So this firewall is configured as usual with port 1 to be my management port, connected to my laptop to the virtual VNet 1 on a 192 subnet right here, 192.168.71. And then I have port 2, that's the ingress port with Puppy Linux and VOS1 as clients, and this subnet is 10.1.1x. This guy is 111, this guy is 1, and the port on firewall is 100. So these clients are coming in and trying to access the servers on port 3. And port 3 has two servers, VOS2 and VOS3. This is the segment 10.2.2.100.2 and .3. So the traffic from this Puppy Linux and VOS1 is going to hit a VIP 100.1.1.1 that gets translated to these real servers for load balancing. Now the tricky part is, according to the documentation, it's not very clear how to configure this, so I thought I'd put it for my record and share it. When you configure the firewall for load balancing, you would not configure the VIP. You would configure the virtual servers. And in the virtual servers, in the policy, so this is no, this is good, but in the policy, you would configure a proxy mode, not the flow mode. So let's take a look at that. Once you do this, this should be straightforward, but these are some of the things that the documentation misses out, and you have to figure it out yourself by Googling and figuring out by playing. So your firewall is right here. The interfaces are configured. Port 1 management, 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3. These are the servers. That's where the servers are sitting. Actually, they're sitting on 10.2 only. 10.3 is not used in this setup. So 10.1 is the ingress port on port 2, and 10.2 is the egress port where the virtual servers are sitting. So let's go take a look at how you configure this virtual servers. You got to go to the systems, feature visibility, and you got to turn on the load balancing feature before you can configure this. So load balancing, you need to turn it on. Once you do that, you would be able to see things like virtual IP and virtual servers. So you're not going to configure virtual IP, you're going to configure virtual servers. You go to the virtual servers, give it a name. I'm using IP. Here's my virtual IP, which is the same as virtual IP here, but you don't configure the virtual IP. You just configure the virtual server and configure the load balancing methodology. I'm using least RTT round trip time and your health check with pings and two real servers that are VOS1 and VOS2 and 3 as part of the setup. Once that is done, you just have to go configure the policy. The policy is where you would, here's my policy. You would, this is your ingress port, egress port, all sources, and then destination is server 1. Now this is not going to be visible unless this is flow based, right? So you have to go with proxy based instead of the flow based. Otherwise, this is not going to be visible. So if you go flow based and then try to add, you would not be able to see the servers, virtual servers. Right now you can because it's already pre-configured. But let's try to delete it. Go here, delete, okay, create new, load balancing policy 1, incoming is 2, outgoing is 3, destination source is all, destination needs to be virtual servers. You don't see it. You don't see virtual servers unless you go and change this to proxy based and then go back to destination and you'll see the virtual servers. So here's what you got to make sure you select, otherwise your virtual servers will not be visible. Service is all, and then oak. And then when you hit, this is going on the first link, and this one is going to go on the second link. Should be, so if you go now, that's all it takes to configure the load balancing part. Now you can go play with the virtual servers and look at how this is going to change. RTT doesn't really tell you much, but if you go and change to round robin and then go Control C, it goes to the second link, which has got a bigger latency. So that is all I wanted to share, is that you do not configure virtual IPs. You only configure virtual servers for load balancing. And this is the setup that I have, where your virtual IP configured in the virtual server setup is 100.1.1.1, and you would not configure the WIPs. You would only configure virtual servers, and you will configure the proxy mode in the policy and not the flow mode. Hope this helps.